Welcome to the Beauty Industry Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Kennedy, and today I'm really excited to be interviewing a woman who is completely revolutionizing the beauty industry. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can enhance your client experience, the power of automations in your business, and most importantly, how you can avoid burnout. Now I'd like to welcome China onto the show.
Hello. Hey, Sammy, and hey, everybody listening. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited about this new podcast of yours.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come along and have some powerful conversations around how we can both progress the industry further. Before we dive into all these incredible topics that I know you are well versed in, I'd love to dive a little deeper into where your whole journey in the industry started and how you got to where you are today. Like, did you always want to be in the beauty industry when you grew up?
No. I think that I'm like the furthest from a beauty industry kid that is even possible. I grew up really like in the dirt with a million animals around me on a property we were totally renewable, so we weren't connected to the grid at all. We ran off solar and generators, and my days were really just spent like chasing horses and cuddling with guinea pigs and just living my best farm kid life with probably no clothes on and definitely no shoes on. So to go from that childhood to now owning a tech company is a really strange kind of, result from the way I was brought up. But I was always an entrepreneur. So I was like selling horse poo from this youngest age, so small where it was really difficult to like shovel the horse poo into a bag to sell it, or picking wild lemons off the trees and selling them to the neighbours, or making batches of pancakes and walking them like across the 50 acres property to the neighbour's house to try and sell them some pancakes on the weekend. So I always had some kind of like wild money-making scheme in my back pocket that I was super focused on. And, all the way to like I had a deal with one of our neighbours who had a lot of fish, and I used to take their fish, like goldfish and little fish for a fish tank, to the market and sell them, and then I get a commission on the sales every once a month at the local markets. So it really started like that with a passion for it. And then my dad actually was a little bit of a wild one as well. He went from being a carpenter and a builder to being a remedial massage therapist and a traditional Thai massage therapist, and he opened a clinic when I was quite young. And I started working in that. And from there, that's kind of where my passion for not so much the beauty industry, but for health and the body and working with people, that's kind of where that started. And I think I was 10 when I was first at his reception desk, helping him with little things around the clinic and helping him at his courses. He became a trainer, so I would go to the courses with him, and it's kind of evolved to me then dropping some subjects at school and training in massage, doing traditional Thai massage training with him. And I bought my first car with massages. I had like a list of how many massages I had to do. I think it was like 80 or something for my $3,000 little bomb car. And it all grew from there.
Wow. Were you living rurally in the country when you were growing up and then you moved into the city?
Yes, yeah. So when I was a kid, I lived with my mum and dad were separated. So it was weekends with my dad when I was younger. And then as I think I was 15 when I moved to Cairns to live with dad. So we lived about an hour inland of Cairns, far north Queensland, on a really, really rural property, and then moved to Cairns for my final 2 years of school. And that's where I started treating and going to TAFE and that sort of thing.
Wow, I love this. Do you find that being in a situation where your dad was running a business from a young age has really helped you shape the mindset you have when it comes to running a business today? Because obviously they don't teach you these things in school. Like, did you ever feel that your mindset was different from everyone else that you went to school with?
Yes, definitely. And Dad really supported my entrepreneurial spirit from a young age. Like, he was the one who would pick me up at 5 a.m. on the market morning and go and collect the fish and then spend the whole day at the markets with me. He was really a big supporter of that side of who I was. And then watching him, and, you know, he wasn't a soft man. Definitely he was English and like quite a hard guy. So he really taught me grit and showing up for what you want and showing up in a way that is, I'm not sure what word I would use there. I want to say in a way that is respectful of the career that you want, but, you know, just really showing up as your best self in your business. He worked really, really hard in that massage clinic, and it was he was in Palm Cove in Cairns, and it was such a tourist little hub that he would work Christmas morning every year until lunchtime because there were clients in Palm Cove who wanted massages on Christmas Day, and then he would drive an hour and a half to come and see us. So he was really like a workhorse, and he taught me so many things. I think mostly just that it's the work ethic that goes in behind the front of the shop, how beautiful everything and you know, how you treat your clients and that sort of stuff. It's what happens behind the scenes, and how he used to get clients through the door and how much work he put into his marketing. And I really didn't see other people doing that in the community at all at that time in my life. So it was really cool to watch him saying, you know, oh, we're quiet this week. What are some like weird, wacky ways that we can drum up business? And they weren't really weird and wacky, but they were out of the box. They weren't just like an ad in the newspaper or whatever. He was really getting his name out there in different ways. So it was really cool to watch, and that was definitely transformative in my journey for sure.
It's really crazy, hey, like the more amount of time you spend in that kind of environment, the more you grow and the more you learn to think outside of the box. And I'm such a strong believer that if you want to succeed in business, you can't follow what everyone else is doing, right? You can't just see what your competition's doing and copying them. You need to innovate, or you won't get rewarded unless you think outside of the box. What's one of the most important or valuable lessons that you learned watching him and his journey and being in that business between the age of like 10 to 20 before you started your own?
Oh, that's a hard question. I don't know exactly what the most important thing is, but I do really, it does come back to being able to see things from a different perspective and being able to kind of like duck and weave. And exactly what you just said then, it's really important not to follow what everybody else is doing. I think the biggest thing that Dad taught me in life in general is if you want something, there's not one way to get it. And if you can sit on it and really think like, what is it that I want and how would I like to get it? Because there's not only one way to get something in terms of like, you don't have to do this, this, and this to achieve the goal. You could do it in a way that feels really great for you. So that was something that he really, really like showed me how to do and embodied himself. And it's going, what feels good for me and how can I make that work? And how can I then turn that into success for myself? And that has taught me to really sit on things and think about them. So not always go, all right, well, this is the first and easiest answer. I will sit and really ponder on what is a cool, different way that I can approach this. That's fun for me. That's different for the industry or different for the thing that I'm trying to achieve. And let's make it happen.
It's really like that. I'm doing this because I'm passionate and I'm coming from that place of abundance, not that scarcity reactive mode of, oh, everyone else is doing this, so I got to quickly do this before I miss out, right?
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it can come from scarcity and reactivity. You know, it's like, when COVID happened, I was like, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to pivot my coaching business? Because salons are shut down right now. And yes, some are going to invest in it, but others just don't have the money right now. So we did the digital practitioner pivot so that like allied health people could consult online. And that was really like as telehealth was coming in. So I just pivoted my whole business in like 48 hours to offer something new so that I could bring money in. So that was reactive and that was a fast decision, but it was also like there's a way. There's a way to make money. There's a way for this to be okay. Let's find it and let's like have fun while we're doing it.
Yes, I love this. Wait, just to backtrack a little bit, you've stopped working with your dad and you obviously went on to pursue your own dreams. I was reading somewhere that you started your own business at 19, which is amazing. Like, I love this. When you started your business, what was going through your mind at the time?
Yeah, so sorry, I jumped way forward.
Back to the future?
So I did start at 19. Yeah, exactly. I started the salon at 19 and I had actually, unfortunately, I lost my dad when I was 18. He passed away from cancer. So after that time, my partner and I at the time, we went traveling around Australia. We took 6 months. We'd saved up for ages and we took it was like a rodeo ute with a rooftop camper on it. And we just drove and did 6 months where we kind of just had space to think. So I was really lucky in that sense that I had time where I wasn't working a 9 to 5, where I wasn't like I had enough money to kind of get through and I could just go, what do I actually want? And I'd already worked a million jobs at that point. Like I'd worked at every little easy job that I could get. And I'm really not a good employee because I just get super impatient, super fast and think of how I could do everything better. And then I go out and quit and do something on my own. So during that time, I decided, I think we're about a month in, I decided that I wanted to open a salon when I got home. And I spent the next 4.5 months, literally, I read Small Business for Dummies back to back. I read every article that I could on salon advertising and on, throwing an opening party and on how to do my accounting. And I did this huge business plan that was like so intense.
At least you had a plan.
Of course, I didn't look at it one time. No, I didn't ever look at it again.
Oh, no. I swear so many jump in and do the opposite. They're like, I'm just going to do this with no plan. And then like 6 to 12 months in, they're like, maybe I should create a plan. But you, on the other hand, you had a plan, but you didn't use it still.
Yeah, but my plan, it was totally outrageous because I was like, in the first year, this is how much money I'm going to make. In the second year, so I was going from like, first year was $100,000. Second year was $250,000. Third year was $350,000. It was like up to $800,000. And I was in this tiny little country town and I had no idea how to get clients through the door. Like the plan was ridiculous.
What services were you offering?
The forecasting was really... at that time, it was only massage and I had beauty therapists coming in. So I had 3 treatment rooms and I had different people renting different rooms. So I think I had a naturopath, someone who was doing bush flower essences, someone who was doing beauty treatments, and I was just doing massage. And then I, from that, went and studied beauty. And that was like a few years that it took me from just massage to spa treatments, really basic spa treatments. So foot infusion, body scrub, poultices, like easy, super basic things that I could add to massage. And then I started selling packages with those things in it. And then I studied beauty and I added waxing and facials and manicures and pedicures and all that sort of stuff. But it was all like baseline beauty. I wasn't doing anything medi. I didn't have any equipment or devices or anything in the salon. And we just kind of grew from there like that. But yeah, the business plan was a total waste of time, but it was really exciting to do because I had time to sit and, dream up all the things that I was going to do, and it was worth spending time. So before we returned home from our trip around Australia, I'd already rented my space, which I hadn't seen in real life. So I'd put down my deposit and I think I paid 6 weeks worth of rent before we even got home.
Wow, that is commitment.
I was like, can we finish this stupid holiday now? So yeah, I was so sick of the holiday. I was like, can we get home so I can do this? And then, we renovated the whole space and off we went.
Wow. Did you have to get a loan to do your fit out or did you pay for it all in cash?
I got a loan from my mum of $6,000 and I had I think we had about $10,000 left from the savings from the trip.
Yeah, wow.
So I just did it with that. And it was already a hairdresser before we moved in. So it was just kind of removing their decor and adding our decor and kind of zhuzhing it a little.
I love that word, zhuzh. I definitely find that in the industry, you see people go, I'm going to open up this salon, and they don't think about how long it's going to take to pay back those costs. And so, some of them go get 50, 100, $200,000 loans out, have this beautiful fit out, and then don't quite have maybe the clientele or the team to bring in that revenue and sustain those costs long term. What would be your advice to someone who is looking to start out and go from home salon to a commercial space? Like, do you have any advice around your experience that you would like to share?
Yeah, I think there's two very different pieces of advice, and it really just depends on where the person is, because somebody can go into a business and invest, $500,000 or $250,000 into a salon space and have padding enough to wait 2 or 3 years before they make that money back, and have either savings or a supportive partner or backup to know that they can do that confidently and enjoy the process. And in that situation, if you're wanting to build a big business and you're wanting to really go all in and obviously figure out whether the area you're in and the services that you're offering and the marketing that you know how to do or you're going to pay to have done is going to return the investment, that's really important. But in that case, go for it, of course. But if you are someone who doesn't have all of that backing and you're already feeling financially scared going into it, I would really suggest starting within your means. It's okay to start really small and just add and improve and add and improve. Like, I went into that salon, that business, feeling like I was just going to, like 100 miles out the gate, make a pile of money. It was just going to be super awesome. I sat for at least 12 months going like, what the heck am I doing? 1 or 2 clients a week, no money coming through the door, all my beautiful signage that I paid all that money for just kind of being there. It wasn't bringing anybody in, no idea how to do marketing. So I, at the time, was house sitting, so I didn't have to pay rent. I was only 19, so I didn't have any previous debt. I didn't have any animals. I didn't have any kids. I had nothing to lose, really. So I started in a space that was manageable for me, and I didn't have overheads, really. So it was, even though it was still stressful, because I was like, how the heck am I going to eat this week for like quite a long time? But it was okay because I didn't have major pressure on me. And I think what happens is when people do overextend too early and they have that major pressure, the stress is like a cancer that just eats away at your passion. It eats away at your motivation and your enthusiasm. And it makes it so, so difficult to feel positive and manifest and go into things with that light, excited kind of energy because you are so desperate. So I would say, depending on where you're sitting, it's really important to make the right move in the beginning, because desperation does not lead to successful business.
That is such valuable advice. And also the thought of, if you are just jumping into something that you're not ready for and you are in that desperation or scarcity state, that's going to show to your clients. Your clients are going to feel that energy when they come to you, and they're not going to want to keep coming back. When you show up in your marketing post, whether you realize it or not, they're going to be the really salesy, like, come in now, buy from me now, here's another discount. And people look at that and they go, oh, you do look like the sleazy car salesman that you fear to be, because you just get stuck in that mindset of like, I need money. How am I going to get by week to week? But I'm glad to see that you're a testament that you didn't stay broke and you didn't like have to give up anything.
Yes.
You found a way. So what happened after you had your salon, your studio, your wellness space for a bit? How long were you there for, and what was that journey like?
Yeah, cool. That was really cool. That was me finding my feet in real business with real clients and having accountability. And so we stayed in the first space for 12 months. I then moved to a bigger space, and the bigger space had like a living quarters out the back, so I could live on the property. And then it was much larger. There was a beautiful open fireplace there, huge reception area, 3 treatment rooms once again. And that was really beautiful. And we built a great business in that location. And that's when things really became more of a spa experience. I hired my first couple of employee staff members, and that was awesome. And then during that time, we started saving, and we were able to then purchase a property off. That was pretty much all off my business income. My partner had a part-time job, so we were doing really well, which was exciting. And we purchased a block which had a normal house on it, and then a really big, I suppose it was like a garage or something. But we pretty much converted that into, it was a 4 treatment room. One of them was a double treatment room. Beautiful front reception area with beautiful chandeliers and old school classic French provincial couches, and it was in the rainforest, and it was so heaven. And so we bought that property, and we spent a fortune kind of building the space out, and that was the best. I absolutely loved it there. But I think, how long was I there for? Maybe 4 years. I think I was there for 4 years, and at that time, so the business was going really, really well, and I was loving it, but I was starting to really feel it in my body, and I was also starting to really fall in love with the marketing side of things. So I was getting really good at marketing and really good at getting what I wanted from the business, but then I was feeling this sense of dread of having to then do the treatments from all of the clients that I was bringing through the door. And the location we were at, it was almost impossible to find good staff. So a lot of it was down to me, and I did have staff, but it just wasn't enough to completely step out. And that's when I started really getting kind of like a roll up with the marketing and strategy and pre-planning and automating a lot of things in the business. And I went and did a few business courses in Brisbane and worked with a few coaches who just said, your clear next step is to move into coaching. And that's what I did from that point. So I moved then from where we were down to Brisbane and went full-time into business coaching from there. So that was 7 years I had the salon for.
When you were in your salon, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced, other than obviously trying to find a team to support you?
I think that as we grew, my biggest challenges were staff.
Yep.
In terms of accountability, high quality work, training staff to be as good as I was at all areas of the business. And I think every salon owner can attest to this. It's as the business owner, you have so much connection to the client experience, to the money that comes through the business, to representing the business in a particular way. Every aspect of the business is really important to you. And because you've, gone from starting to growing a team, usually you're really good at everything that needs to be done. And then you bring somebody new on and you're like, how can they be so crap at this?
And sometimes they're just there to take a paycheck. They're not having that same amount of, I guess, passion and care for what they're doing because it's not their own business.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also it's, the colleges that they're coming out of are not teaching anything but the physical kind of service. So learning how to rebook, learning how to sell, learning how to take a client through an experience is not something that they've been trained in. And that was another piece that I really loved. It wasn't fun doing it, but it was building the procedures behind how to welcome a client through the front door and how to do a service from the beginning to the end, and how you speak when you're selling product and how you're connecting with the client with what they want and need to provide them with a solution, and to obviously improve your retail sales and improve your upsales in the treatment room and your rebooking and that type of thing. So I became really structured with all of that. And like I said, it's not fun while it's happening because I just felt like I would bring staff members on. I'd work really, really hard to fill their books. And then next minute, they've got nobody in again. And I'm like, we just had a full week for you and now there's nobody rebooked. And now I'm starting from scratch again over and over. So teaching them how to really create that client experience and then do the sell afterwards. And a lot of that also came down to the follow-up that a lot of salons still do manually, where it's checking in on text message or phone call after the appointment to see how the client's feeling, to sell them into whatever's next for them or support them in their journey. So all of that kind of, that was something that I found really difficult and that was frustrating for a long time. And then as I got good at it, I left the salon behind and moved into coaching because I was like, now I know how to do this. I'm going to teach other people how to do this too.
When you shifted towards enjoying the marketing side more, what did marketing look like back then in comparison to where it's at now? Because obviously back then you didn't have things like TikTok. You probably had Instagram, but it would have just been starting out. Like Facebook was the main thing back then. How have you seen that whole journey in marketing progress as a business owner?
Yeah, it's definitely a different world. Pretty much only when it comes to social media, though, because all of the foundational marketing strategies still exist and they still work really well. So what it looked like for me then was really strong community and business-to-business relationships. So I would plan out 6 to 12 months in advance exactly what campaigns were going to be running for those months, exactly who was going to support me in achieving those goals. So would be a wedding venue business to business, a gym connection, a hairdresser connection, client referrals that are always happening in the background, email marketing to my email list, Facebook, and then generally in the community. And the thing is, no matter where you have a salon, no matter how big the city is, you have a community around you within a certain vicinity of where your ideal clients are spending their time and their money. So they're still relevant in a big way to what salons can be doing now. And that's a big passion of mine, is ensuring that business owners aren't only leveraging social media, because it takes time and work and effort and energy to show up on social media every single day. Whether you've got a social media manager or not, you are still reviewing content and making content, and it's a treadmill that really you can't get off. And it's important and it needs to be done, but it's also important to have these like back end foundational marketing machines running for you as well that don't require a lot of your time after setup. And so that's how it's changed, and that's how I've seen the industry change, is that a lot of salon owners now are leaning only on social media and they're forgetting about all of those really incredible core marketing strategies that have worked forever, and they're getting really exhausted really quickly and they're disappearing in the crowd that is social media and the noise. So I think there's still a lot of relevance in those pieces that have been forgotten.
Well, we look at Instagram per se, and only 5 to 10% of your audience is seeing that content. And even if they do see it, they're probably in a scroll hole, just scrolling straight past. Or if they're on stories, they're just tapping away. It's not like they're sitting there and reading the entire thing unless they really love your content and it's really engaging. And I think back in the day, everyone thought, I'll just focus on going viral and getting all these views. But what happens if your account gets taken away? What happens if your Facebook ads get blocked? Like, what happens if you lose your social media? Because this happens. People get hacked. They fall victim to scams. They forget their passwords. They've got 2-factor authentication on and the iPhone got dropped in the ocean and they can never get that authentication code again. I know some clients that this has happened to. And I think email marketing in our industry is so underutilized. Like, what do you believe that email marketing is the key, or is there something else that's better out there?
It's not the key. I feel like there's no key, unfortunately. Yeah. I wish there was. But I think
it's a missing gem.
Like email marketing has been really There's a lot of missing gems right now. Like, my favorite marketing tool ever is business to business referrals. And having a really good, strong strategy around business to business referrals, time limits, specific offers, secret links, that clients can scan the QR code and book in for only when they're in that gym, only when they're with that business. It's like a constant trickle of brand new clients. And then you've got email marketing, which is critical for supporting clients, long-term marketing to your current clients, keeping that retention, and also marketing to people who already know, like, and trust you. It's so fast and you can get conversion instantly and make heaps of money. So that, and then client referrals, having a really great client referral strategy in place where you're not giving away cash or free stuff. You're, putting together specific offers that excite your client to come and have that offer as well as their friends and family. So there's lots of background stuff that can be done in marketing, and this is where I always really excel in looking outside the box, because I'm like, I can see that business down the road has all of my ideal clients coming in every single day and they're not coming to me. And that client already knows, likes, and trusts that business. So anything that they suggest to them is going to be more likely to be received and convert. So why wouldn't I save a heap of money and time and do a specific offer with them? And I've literally just created like a funnel of new clients to my door who are already my ideal clients. Like they've already been vetted to be awesome clients. And I did this with wedding venues, with coffee shops, with florists, hairdressers. What are some other businesses out there? Like if you're doing beauty, you can work with hair, you can work with remedial massage, chiropractors. Like these are people, if you're going to a florist, you're already spending money on something that is not a need, like a life need, which means you've got some extra money, which means you're probably going to go and have some beauty services. So there's like a really cool little web that you can just tap into there and use. And then, of course, once you have those clients through the door, the client experience before their service and after their service, and the marketing that happens through email and through socials and everything is really important from that point. But you need to look at it holistically, not like it's this or it's that. It's like, let's look at everything together so that you're building really strong foundations.
I always think about Pilates studios. Those are not price sensitive people. If they are going and paying for Pilates, they're investing a significant amount. Usually they get some kind of beauty service. And it's like, if you're always focusing on servicing everyone and you don't hone in on who your ideal client is, and I'm not just talking about her name's Sarah, she's aged 25 to 35. Like, no, what does she do in her day-to-day life? Where is she hanging out? What does she prioritize? Where does she spend her money? What kind of occupation is she working? Because the more specific you get, the easier it is to actually find the right businesses and find those ideal clients.
Absolutely. And with that ideal client as well, it's like looking at when they've actually got free time too. So what's their family situation like? Because a lot of businesses will create an ideal client and then their business hours are completely opposite to when their ideal client can actually come in for services, or they're not actually offering the services at the price point that ideal client wants. So it's like, cool, I've got my ideal client done. And then they do nothing with that information. It's like, let's build the ideal client and then build the business to match that ideal client's desires.
It's like, I'm going to service 9 to 5 busy women working in corporate, and my opening hours are 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. For some reason, I can't get clients. It's like, you wonder why. And also,
yeah, exactly. Hopefully they can all come in their lunch break.
And to add on to that as well, you've got that price point. If you are trying to attract a higher quality clientele and you're thinking, I'm going to undercut the salon next door and charge cheaper to get more clients, they're going to look at that price point and go, that's not aligned to the value I'm looking for. Or if you're charging, really, really high prices in an area that has a low socioeconomic status, then you're going to write yourself out of the market. And it is that fine tuning of who your ideal client is, the environment, the area you're in. Like, people don't always consider what's the max amount I can charge realistically in this area before I go, set up a salon or buy into a commercial property or whatever it may be. And these are like really valuable things to map out in your plan. And you don't have to do maybe a massive plan like China did when she first started, but just understanding like, where am I going into business?
Yeah.
Who am I servicing? How am I going to service them? What are those costs that are included? And how am I going to make sure that this is possible for me? But to carry on from your business coaching journey, so you did business coaching for 7 years, which has led you to where you are today. What do you believe was the current issue facing the beauty industry that caused you to pivot from business coaching into where you are today?
While I was business coaching, there was a lot of frustration for me and for the salon owner around the flexibility of the software that was supporting their business. So being able to create incredible client journeys that was specific to the client's experience in the salon, so the service or the product that they purchased, and the need to integrate with all of these different softwares to achieve the goal that they were wanting to achieve, which meant as an industry that is specifically not tech savvy, like it is very well known that we are hands-on people, we are nurturers, we are not specifically tech people, to then have to learn how to use 4 or 5 different softwares and integrate them with the one that you're using to achieve the goal just meant that like the capacity of the business softwares weren't being reached. Like so many features weren't being used. They were overly complicated. They were really limited. Like there was so much structure around what you could and couldn't do in your messaging that it was constantly kind of like hitting my head against a brick wall as a coach trying to support the salon in building these experiences for clients. And then as the business owner, because I would say, okay, we're going to set up this marketing campaign that will be a funnel on the service that they just had or the product that they just purchased or the experience that they've had. Here's all of the content you need to automate. And then they're like, well, I can't automate it. There's no way, and I'm not going to sit down and manually do all of those things for every single client. So there was this feeling of so much opportunity lost when it came to marketing and business growth with what was available for us as an industry. And I also felt frustrated as a business coach for all of the great softwares that I was using as a business coach that weren't available for the salon industry because they weren't really the right fit. And I was like, all of this is out there and available, but we just don't have it. And that feels unfair. That feels annoying. Like, I know this is possible. We just don't have the systems to do it for a beauty salon. So that's where beauty software was born. And it was really, the idea was born like in my first year of business coaching. And being a software build, a SaaS, software as a service company, it's very expensive to develop something like that and very time consuming. So it was a long time of dreaming and wishing and hoping and praying that one day it might be a thing. And then one day it was a thing. So that was really cool.
It's crazy, hey, like you think about running a salon and you've already got all these overheads and then you're having to buy 4 to 5 different programs which aren't even giving you what you want. And it's just like, why am I throwing all my money away? When I first heard about beauty software, I kind of thought, oh, another software company, as you do. Being in this industry, you've probably trialed and tested a few different ones. There's Fresher, Timely. I know a lot of people have used Square, and the functionality of them differs between them, but sometimes the cost for what you get in return, there's just not the right amount of value. Not to mention the customer service isn't always there either. And so when I heard about beauty software, I was like, I don't know, but I'll go in with an open mind. And I had this tour of it with one of your incredible team members, Sarah, and it just blew me away. Like, I'm not joking. As someone who had really low expectations, just because I've had so much issues with previous softwares, I was like, this is a game changer. Like, I couldn't imagine how much easier life gets to be when you can actually implement these funnels and these automations. Like, name another software booking system that you can log online and send text messages consistently from the same number to your client off a laptop. Name another software that has Canva designs built into it for email marketing to help save you more time. Like, I could go on, but this is the software company you need to be getting onto.
Yeah.
I cannot stress this enough. It was an absolute game changer. What's the best thing of
Yes, I love that so much. Thank you for the
sorry.
Thank you for the shout out. I feel like because I work in it all day, every day, I forget how awesome it is.
You're like, this is my new standard.
Like,
it should be this
great,
good,
of
though.
Course.
You're like, why aren't all of them like this?
Yeah, yes, exactly. I mean, like, we still have such a long way to go. We have probably 4 years worth of development plans that we are like slowly dripping out. So it's only getting better every single day, which is the most exciting thing. And I think that, we are new and we do have areas where we really want to improve quickly and areas where we're just going to absolutely blow salon owners' minds with what is possible with a system. But I think the coolest thing for us is, because I'm from the industry and because I am in this to create a solution for the beauty industry, I'm listening to what everybody's saying every single day and I'm going, yes, totally agree, let's build it. It's not like, no, well, I've got other plans because I think what I know is better. It's like, no, I can hear exactly what you're saying. That makes sense. I'm going to put that on the list to build it. And we've got users who, let's say a user who joined 2 months ago and they're like, we'd really like this or we'd really like that. And within 2 days, they've got the feature in the system for them. So being able to work really quickly and adapt and add things for users is so exciting. And it's a frustration that the industry has had since the beginning of time, that they're not being heard and that they've been asking for something specific for 3 years and being told, yes, it's coming.
In 12 months.
But there's no evidence of it. So I'm super Yeah.
Oh, I think it's so user-friendly as well. Like, what do you believe are the best point of differences that this software has over other ones you've previously used with your clients in the past?
Yes. So one thing that I really love, and it's not even one of our super special features, but it's the fact that with our SMS and our email marketing, which is all built in, you don't need to integrate with a MailChimp or with a Salesforce or whatever, an external emailing system. It's all built in, but we don't put limitations on how something can look or how many words you can use. So being able to design either a blast email to go out to all of your database or a beautifully designed aftercare funnel being like 1 day after they've come, a week after they've come, 2 weeks, 6 months, whatever it is, design it to match your branding, to match the experience that they're having in your salon. I find with some other systems, it almost cheapens the brand because there's so much restriction on how you can design it, the size of the images that you can use, how many words. So we really wanted to allow complete flexibility for you to create absolutely stunning templates that are totally matched to your business and share everything you want in those. And then also with aligning with that, being able to automate prior to an appointment as many messages as you want. So somebody's coming in for a medi treatment that requires them to stop using particular products, that stop having sun exposure, and needs to know, maybe what the downtime might be on that or what the experience is going to look like for them as a client. You can set all of that up before an appointment on automation. So, at whatever point before the service, whether it's 4 weeks before, 2 weeks before, 1 week before, whatever it is, all of that information. So that can be, hey, it's now 5 days before, don't forget to stop using this, and this because your skin needs to be ready. Or it's 5 days before and we thought we would send you an email with the exact process that your skin's going to go through from the moment that you leave the salon to 2 weeks after. So you can prepare yourself and prepare your social schedule for that. So being able to automate all of that, so anyone who ever books in for that service is going to get those messages, takes so much off the salon owner or the therapist's plate, and also avoids any potentially, depending on what it is, but it can avoid legal problems if you forget to tell a client specific things before or after a service because you just got too busy and you forgot to send the message. But it also makes that client feel really important and really loved and like they are being held and supported through, especially with the Medi services that are available now, through the experience of that and not feeling like they have to do that alone. So you can do that before the service and then you can do it afterwards as well, from immediately after. At the moment, it goes up to 6 months after, and we'll be extending that to 18 months after for those more intensive treatments. So that's, once again, you know, you can send videos on how to use your products at home and you can automate according to the products that they've purchased in salon on the day. So just that feature alone is one of my favorites, coming from a business coaching background, being able to love on your clients. Like, I have never been to a salon where I've experienced that level of client experience pre and post a service. And I just know that if I did, it would change the game for me and I wouldn't be going anywhere else because I would feel really loved and like I was important and not a number. So that's something that I am really thrilled about with the software.
I think so many people sleep on the follow-up process, and that's where you truly do make your money. If you aren't rebooking those clients and following up with them, then they're not going to feel valued. They're not really going to feel like they need to rebook and come back, and they might just find someone else that does it better. And even though you're so busy and you're so stretched for time, as we know, running a salon is not something that comes easy. There are a lot of tasks required. Having to put those things into a funnel or an automation will give you more time freedom back. And I think that's what people are scared of. They're scared of, you know, trying something different because they've never heard of it before or it's not familiar to them. But what you need to realize is this is the key to stop yourself from burning out. If you're finding that disconnect with your business and you're starting to resent what it is you're doing because there's so many tasks, being able to put those systems and automations in place is what will allow you to also scale your business and grow. Because if you don't have automation, systems and processes, I'm sure you can agree that there's going to be a level of inconsistency in your business. And when there's a lack of consistency, then there's a lack of trust.
Yes, that is 100% the truth. That's something that I'm such a huge believer in, because as your business grows, your requirement to keep up with those things grows, and it's actually impossible to juggle all of those balls. Like, if right now, if you're a salon owner listening to this and you're struggling to keep all of the balls in the air and there's just too much and you're forgetting to do things and you're forgetting aftercare or rebookings and you can't remember who's who, just know that that is totally normal, and it's actually impossible to do all of that for any extended period of time. You might be able to do it for a short time, but you cannot do that ongoingly. And then as your business grows, you will drop the ball, and that's when you start to get churn in your business, or, you know, you lose that retention, and you won't notice it as much because your business is growing bigger. But it will be the difference between you going from, you know, hitting your 100,000 to hitting your 400,000. It's those clients that fall through the cracks because you forgot them that make all of the difference. And I think that's something really important to remember, because when you're a small business and you've got 10 clients or 20 clients, you're going to notice if one of them drops off and they stop coming to you, and you're going to look back through your text communication and you'll see where you forgot to follow up with them or check in on them or ask them for the rebook. When you're at 1,000 clients, you will never know where that person went, and you probably won't even notice they're missing. But that is potentially $2,000 a year that's gone out of your business if you're just doing basic treatments. You know, that could be $10,000, $20,000 a year if you're doing Medi treatments, which is a huge amount to lose because you simply couldn't keep up with everything. It's a huge amount to lose, especially when you could have automated and you could have stayed consistent and it didn't take any extra time from you to create the most incredible client experience after your client leaves the salon to retain them forever.
Couldn't agree more. I'm really curious, if I were to sign up to Beauty Software as a salon owner, what are some of the key funnels or automations that you would want to set up for me to have the most success in my business?
It varies so much. It depends from salon to salon, service to service, but we will always do your which are always your consultation forms. So we would build out all of your consultation forms for all of your different services. We can also build out some forms for feedback and reviews if you're wanting that internally. And then we would automate all of your pre-appointment care. So that would be letting the client know, the brand new client, what they can expect when they're coming to the salon, how to find parking, what to wear so that they can be comfortable, loving on them with that message, and then adding the form links. So you might have, depending on how many services you might have 20, if not more, pre-automations that can go out according to the service that the client has booked. And then we would do your aftercare as well. So we would do your follow-up on whatever the service is. So if it is more there's going to be more follow-up, and that's more likely to be an email with like comprehensive information, images and downloadables and stuff like that. If it's something simple, it's just a follow-up text message, and you can do a few of those. We would also set up an automation that would trigger for anyone who has no future bookings and hasn't been in for a certain amount of time, which will trigger a We Miss You campaign to have them rebook an appointment. And with those, we do birthday ones as well. So everybody sets up their birthday campaign, and this is where automatically, basically, it'll pull the client's birthday, and then it'll send out in a collection of messages. So it'll be 2 weeks before their birthday, a week before their birthday, a day before, on the day, a week after. And you can choose how many you want to send there. With those, we actually create secret links in Beauty Software, which other softwares don't have, which I absolutely love. It's where you can create a link that is not visible in your online booking widget or your online booking shopfront, but it is still available if you send that private link to a client for them to book that service. So this is where we create really beautiful birthday packages, we miss you packages, business to business referral packages, and then we make them secret links. And we add those links into our automation so the client can just click it and book themselves online. So they're able to access these special offers without having to call you or text you or take up your time to reserve that spot or to take up that offer. So those are some of the key ones. We would probably, if you wanted feedback, we would create an automation after specific services, asking your clients for, the feedback that they had for you, if there's anything that you could improve on, what you loved the most. And we would also do some automations post-product purchase as well. So anything that you want to give the client instructions on in terms of how to use it, what to expect, and then also some follow-up care. How's your skin feeling? Your product will be getting low by now. Let's book you back in for a consultation to, see if this is still the right product fit for your skin. So all of that, it sounds like a lot, but we actually do that on a Zoom call with you so that you're supported through the whole process of creating your automations, and they're kind of done and dusted and ready for when you go live.
I think that's the game changer, right? Instead of having to go, oh my gosh, I need to set up this entire new booking system by myself because I'm already time poor. I don't have the extra time to have someone do it for me. Do you even transfer all my current appointments across from my current booking system to the Beauty Software for me?
Yeah, so we do your whole migration for you. So all of your client data, your previous notes, all of your calendar, gift vouchers, deposits, everything. We do that behind the scenes, and you don't need to really be a part of that. So once that's done, then we do your automations with you. So if you have a business coach that you're working with right now, often they will provide you with all of the content that you would want to put in those messages, and then we can build it out. Otherwise, what we do is we sit in a strategy session together and we go, what are your services? How would you like it to look? We kind of create a map, and then we know what messages we need for what, and then we go away. You actually build those out. You can use ChatGPT, or you can send us what you already have, and we can help you kind of make them a bit more juicy. And then we can add those all in. So we'll show you exactly how to do it, build a lot of them out, and then you have freedom to build as many as you want. So you can then go away and keep playing with it if you want to keep building more on what we've already done.
Yes, I love this. I think that's really cool to be able to add your own brand voice to the text messages, because I've used other booking systems in the past and they're very robotic. And it's like when you get a text message from the dentist, reply yes or no, and it says stop to opt out. It just doesn't feel personalized and you don't want to respond to it. But if you can actually go into that booking system and set up a message that sounds like it's come directly from you in the exact kind of language you would use, your response rate is going to be a lot higher.
Yeah. Absolutely. I do love saying that. They're like, how do I write this? I go, well, how do you talk to your client? Let's look at the text messages you've manually been sending and just use that and improve it a little bit and then put it in an automation. So you want your clients to feel like every automated message is you sitting there typing it out and them receiving it, because that's how it will feel from their end with the automations.
And I know some people sit there and they go, oh, but that's cheating. And it's like, well, you'd rather have that system in place to save you time.
Yeah. I think if there's any way that you can cheat to save some time in business, it's not cheating, it's smart business.
Absolutely. So throughout this entire journey of beauty software, have you had some incredible client results that you can share?
Let me think on that. Of course, we've had people who have absolutely loved the system. In terms of client results, because we are still so new, we haven't got data on increased rebooking and that type of thing, because we've only really been going for 10 months, kind of. I'm going to say probably more like 6 months. So we don't have real data that I can give you. But people are saying some of the key things are they can't believe how easy it is, like how intuitive the system is to use, to be able to create all of that marketing and to easily be able to navigate around it. It doesn't feel built like a tech guy built it. It feels built like a beauty software person built it, a beauty industry person. And also the massive improvement in that client communication is really, really huge. Being able to automate all of that has saved our salons so much time and energy and created definitely a more consistent flow of communication between the salon and the client. And also having that two-way SMS has been game-changing. So being able to jump into a client profile and shoot them off a message personally. So this is actually one that you would type. The client can reply to your automations anytime, and they can also just message you back from their confirmation message or anything that you send them. That's saving a lot of time for our users, but it's also building stronger connections. So when they say, hey, running 10 minutes behind, pop out and grab a coffee or come and make yourself comfortable and I'll see you out there in a moment, that connection, and then it happening on the actual computer on the client profile in a mobile type format where they can look, any staff member can then look back through the full history of conversation. They can see if that's happened before. They can see if the client's ever been unhappy, or if there's been any other communication, a lot of cancellations through there, whatever it might be. So then they can address things accordingly, whether it's offering something extra free, giving them some extra love, or having to have that conversation about cancellations or whatever it might be, adding more to the deposit amount. That's all really clear there. And then with our, like you said before, we have the Canva, like we've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Canva designs within the software where a salon owner can click edit, throw it into an email and send it. People are just loving that because it takes the time and energy away from looking at a blank screen trying to figure out what the heck they're going to design for Mother's Day or for Easter or for a Christmas campaign. So the feedback that we're getting is really phenomenal, and people are just loving every minute in the system and loving that they can say, hey, can you add this for us? Hey, I want to be able to access this in this way. Can you put it there? And for us to be able to respond. And then the final piece I would say is our support. So I'm going to be brave and say that we have the best support in the industry. As a software, you will always hear back from us. You have an account manager. So like Sarah, who did the tour, she's an account manager for a certain number of salons. She knows from the tour to onboarding them to supporting them afterwards, she knows what their business desires are. She knows what their goals are next, what they're struggling with, what they need to still do. So any communication, she understands what's going on for them, and she, it's always a message back within 3 to 10 minutes, whether it's a text message or an email or a phone call or a Zoom. There's always that support there. And everyone who's on the team has come from the industry in their background. So Sarah was a salon owner herself. She had a hair salon. So the fact that we know what you're struggling with as a salon owner, and we can support you in getting the results that you want, whether that's a marketing strategy session or an automation strategy session or training your staff on how to use the system, there's just more support that we can offer. I think it's because, we are a boutique software and every single client is so important to us and we know the depths of the business. So that changes the game for salon owners who feel very alone, very tired, very overwhelmed, and they're just trying to get through the next thing. To be able to have, it's like having a business coach or a business mentor. They're available to call at any time to say, hey, I really need help with this. It's just a really nice relationship that we're able to build, and it makes the world of difference.
Yeah, awesome. Do you have a considerable difference in the way you support sole traders versus a company with a big team in terms of the features and functionality?
No, not really. Features and functionality, it depends on what level you jump in at. So if you're a sole trader, you might jump in on basics, which has a different set of features than the essentials package, which then contains everything. In terms of support, it's the exact same process. The only difference is usually a larger business will require more of our time. So there will be training sessions with the owner, and there'll also be training sessions with the team and the staff. So we'll do small group sessions, depending on how big the team is, of 3 staff members, so that they can really learn how to use the system, so that they're not leaning on the owner as during the transfer of, hey, how do I do this, or where do I find that? Because a new software is learning a whole new system to manage the business, and there's always going to be some, like a period of time where you feel a bit confused or overwhelmed, which is why we then come in and go, all right, we're going to jump on a Zoom call, screen share, and we're going to walk you through all of the key things that you need to know one step at a time. So obviously that takes less time with a solo operator because we can just do it with them, whereas we also will teach the business owner something different to what we teach the therapists who are just using the calendar, or if we have a coordinator or a salon manager, we're going to spend our time in the marketing and the reporting and stuff with them over general calendar. So that's really the only difference. Otherwise, everybody gets the same amount of love from us.
Amazing. I definitely think having that onboarding support makes it a lot easier to learn how to use things. Like, I wish I had a tutorial when I learned how to use Xero, or I wish I had a tutorial when I learned how to use PandaDocs. It's just like all these little systems and processes. We're visual people in this industry. Like, you didn't get into this industry if you aren't hands-on. And to have someone show you that, I think makes all the difference with the implementation moving forward. It makes the scary thing not so scary and more exciting, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also is like, oh, I forgot how to do this. Can you help me? Can you show me again? Yep, no worries. We're not gatekeeping support here.
Oh, so good. I think this is what more people need, that support. In an industry where it can feel really lonely and not having access to all the answers straight away, to have someone in your corner backing you when you show up in business, you're going to be glowing. I really wanted to tie it back into the industry and what your thoughts are as an industry leader. How have you seen the industry evolve since you've started versus where you're at now? And, just to compare, what have been some of the best things versus some of the worst things?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. There's been a lot of change. I feel like the industry has grown so much, and I feel like we have credibility more so as an industry now than we did back when I started, definitely. Because a lot of those medi treatments, all those more expensive services really weren't in the beauty industry back then. I feel like back in the day you were going to a dermatologist for skin concerns, or you were going to a really, really expensive, very clinical, almost doctor to have any anti-aging treatments done or any of the really anything. And now it's become so much more common, and there's so many incredible medi clinics out there where you can go and have a spa/medi treatment and be pampered and also get these incredible results, and not at a price that is completely unaffordable for any regular person. So I think that's really cool. I feel like we are more respected with our clients these days. People are willing to pay more money for our services, even though I just said it's at a reasonable price, but I feel like people are willing to spend more money more regularly on achieving the goals that they want to achieve with beauty services. So that's really exciting. So I think in that sense, there's been some really incredible positive change. And then on the other side of things, I feel as though the industry on the inside, like salon facing, has become less soft. I feel like there is less in terms of the people and the interaction and the communication within the industry. There's less nurture, there's less compassion, and we've become quite harsh and competitive and really financially focused, which for me, I feel there's some loss and some sadness in that, because I hear from business owners all over Australia and the world that they feel uncomfortable being in the industry a lot of the time due to others in the industry, due to nastiness and cattiness and that type of thing. So I would really, really love to bring back, we're actually about to launch a campaign. We haven't properly named it yet, but it's essentially the heart of beauty, and talking about all of the wonderful and positive things that people are doing in the beauty industry, and those who are connected from the heart and who are connected from passion and compassion and who are supporting and lifting others up. I really would love to see more of that. It still exists, definitely, but yeah, I'm feeling that we have had a little bit of a turn towards the not so great, and I would love to flip it back to people who are really looking out for each other and looking after each other, because we are tough. Like, we've had to be so tough in this industry over the last 5 years. It has been a rocky, rocky road. And I think it's really important now that we acknowledge and respect each other for all still being here. And I think we've all got some scars and a little bit of hurt and sadness from what we've had to get through over the last however long. So let's start, bringing that kindness and compassion and having that client focus. Yes, it's important that we earn money and build successful businesses, but we do that by having a client focus and building beautiful experiences for our clients rather than just trying to find the next dollar. So I don't want to end it on a negative note, but I hope that all kind of makes sense and lands.
Absolutely. What do you think have been some of the factors that have created this cattiness, the nastiness and competition in the industry over the years?
I believe that there has been a real shift to focus on money, and with social media being the highest earner, having the most followers, being the most successful is where people are getting their kind of kicks from, and they're letting their egos take over. And I've seen business coaches who have been completely focused on money and talking only on their social media about how much they're earning next, and look at all this cash I've got, and look at all these fancy things that I'm buying with all of the money that I'm making. And awesome. I want everybody to be financially abundant. I don't take that away from me at all. I think that's important, but I don't think it should be the core to why you're doing what you're doing or why your goal is your goal. And I think that has kind of shifted where people then go, oh, well, I'm not earning that much money, or I feel like I need to compete to be at that level to be respected in the same way. But really, we don't need to be respected for how much money we have in our bank, but what we're providing to the industry from our hearts and what we're providing to our clients in that experience. So I think it might be a little bit of a new age beauty business owners coming in or coaches coming in and flogging on social media kind of a negative view on what we are as an industry, because we aren't really specifically money driven. And if we were, then we might be doing something a little bit different than having our hands on bodies all day long. Like, we are nurturers naturally. And I think we can go back to that. And there's a lot of people who are very loud and therefore looking very successful online. But I'd like to bring it back to all of those amazing quiet achievers who are doing such incredible things. And yes, along the way, earning heaps of money. Awesome. I want that for people. I want you to be able to take a holiday to Europe with your family and take time out and have a lifestyle business and have financial abundance. But let's do that from a place of heart, not a place of greed and ego.
I think it's very easy to get caught up in the vanity metrics because that's what society and social media portray as worthiness. And I'm not sure if you've experienced this with some of your coaching clients over the years, but some of the conversations I have with the women in the industry are around, I dictate my worthiness and my success or how good I feel about myself based on how full my booking system is, how much money I have in my bank account, how many followers or views I got on my social media. And at the end of the day, it's just that gentle reminder that those things don't equate to your self-worth. Your self-worth really comes from who you are and what you stand for and your values and the way you treat people. Like, when you die, do you want to be remembered for how many followers you had or how much money you had and what those viral posts were? Or do you want to be remembered for how you showed up to your friends, how you treated clients, the impact you created on the world? And this leads me into my next question that I'm really interested to hear your answer on this, China. What legacy do you want to leave in the industry?
Yes. You had sent me this question and I was like, ooh, well, that's an interesting one. I don't have a specific answer for that. I think what my real passion is and what I would love to leave for the industry is I want to see more small business owners creating real, true, holistic success in their life and their business. And that's why I've pretty much done everything that I've done from the point of finishing the salon and moving into coaching. And what I mean by that is I want business owners to experience true success where they have a successful business that makes them feel good, where they have a life that they get to thoroughly enjoy and spend present time with their family and take a holiday when they want to take a holiday and wake up in the morning feeling a sense of joy, not a sense of dread. And I hope that with Beauty software, I'm able to kind of like plug a massive piece in for that salon owner where I can take a lot of work off their plate and where they've got something that they feel that they can actually lean on as a person in business to support them to achieve their goals inside of the business and outside of the business. And while doing that, I think coming from a place of being completely human focused, and I hope that I can help the industry become more human focused as well.
So powerful. I've got goosebumps. I'm like, this is what is missing. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day life of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing tomorrow and how many clients do I have? But like you're saying, creating that success outside of the business, because if you want to have time with your family, if you want to have time with your friends, the last thing you want to be doing is, scrolling Instagram or sending out all these client reminders and, that taking up an extra 2 to 4 hours of your day on top of servicing clients. Like if you haven't considered looking at implementing those automation systems and processes in your business and you feel burnt out, this is that reminder that this is the time to do it. Don't wait for another year. Don't wait until you're physically burnt out to the point where you're like, I'm just going to close my doors. If you want to improve your client retention rate, if you want to see more clients coming back through the doors and feel really valued, and of course, when you are valuing those clients, they're going to be the ones that spread the good word about you. They're going to be the ones that spend more money with you, and they will stay loyal to you throughout COVID, inflation, cost of living crisis. Those clients that feel valued, they will prioritize their spending with you through hard times. And I can testament this. Like this is I've seen it happen with my clients. Like some of them have just consistently held on to their Christmas clientele up until now, still sustaining the same amount of revenue because they genuinely look after them. They care, they give that customer service, but also the follow-up, which I think if you aren't implementing, it's a must. But what's one piece of advice from your own experience that you would like to share with others to help them on their journey?
I think this goes back to what we kind of were saying in the beginning, and it is to keep ducking and weaving. just keep going. Like there's no doubt about it that the journey is hard. And it can be really painful, and it will test your limits, and it will test your self-compassion, and it will test how good you are at celebrating when you have wins. It's such a journey, and no matter how far ahead you get and how successful you might look out to the outer world, you are always going to be dealing with your own stuff and your own self-beliefs and having shit days. And even when everything's going great, you might be feeling crap or, whatever it is. So just know that that is totally normal, and just know that it's okay to just keep changing things, figuring out new ways to do things, changing your mindset. I just read something the other day and I put a sticky note on my computer that said, try on different beliefs that will help you become who you want to be and get to where you want to go. And I was like, that's cool. I can just try on a different belief system. Like I'm successful really easily, or I wake up happy every morning and excited for the day no matter what's going on with my life. So I think my main piece of advice is just keep going, just keep making a new decision and finding a new solution every day and putting one foot in front of the other. And especially with right now, with the way the industry is and that times are tough, you can get through it. And it's literally just duck and weave, try new things, keep having fun while you're doing it. It will be okay. You can get through the other side of this, and maybe you're having an awesome time right now, but there's always tough times in business, and I just always remind myself that, well, in the grand scheme of things, I'm going to be fine. This is just a moment, and I'm just going to make a different choice and a new choice, and I'm going to find a way around the difficult stuff and really take time to celebrate the good stuff.
It's like, times are tough, but I'm going to put on the belief system that I excel in tough times. I love this.
Yes, exactly.
What is it? Diamonds are made under pressure.
Yeah.
It's that cliche saying, but it's so true.
Yes, it's so true. How much did we all learn during lockdown, and how much did we all change our businesses? And, those who were able to pop out the other side popped out a lot stronger, and with a whole fresh sense of appreciation for clients coming through the door.
Business is like life, right? It's survival of the fittest. If you aren't, I don't even think business is about being the smartest person in the room. It's just being the most resourceful and resilient and being able to adapt to any changes or challenges that are thrown your way. If you sit out here and you're like, oh, but I've got dyslexia, or I didn't get straight A's in high school, or so what? That's fine. It's just looking at your situation and thinking, how am I going to move through this? And to talk to a challenge I know everyone faces is this overwhelm. We look at this big mountain and think, how the heck are we going to climb it in one day? But you don't have to. It's just step by step, Just like how you started out from, okay, well, I've got my team here, I've locked in the salon, and then, okay, we're going to get this house. Like, you don't have to do it all at once. And to kind of rewind back to what we were saying about social media, what you see online, you don't need to compare yourself to those people's journey because it's so different from yours. Like, if you consider what experience they've had, what their personal context or what's going on in their life, like, it's always so different. And instead of focusing on what everyone else is doing, just hone in on your journey and how you're going to be 1% better than you were yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one other thing I want to add is that mindset piece of, I noticed myself getting into this recently, and it's the allowing yourself to fall into overwhelm. And I was feeling overwhelmed, and I was feeling like everything was big. I was doing big things, and me saying that to myself almost put me into a freeze state. Like, I couldn't, the things were so big, I couldn't just do a little thing now. And then I started to think about what my self-talk was and where that was coming from. And it was because the people that I were talking to, because what I'm doing is outside of what they know or what they used to, which is often the same for a salon owner, because usually the salon owner doesn't have any other friends or family in business. It's usually, like I hear all the time, I'm the only person in my family or my friend group who owns a business, and nobody really gets it. So they're commenting and saying like, wow, you're so incredible. Like, you're doing these massive things, and look how successful you are, or look how good you are at doing this, or this is huge. These are big decisions you're making. And then you start talking like that. And even though it's not negative, it's creating this big bubble of pressure of how big the decisions, that you're making and how big this all is. And then you're like, okay, so like, this is all big. What do I do right now to move forward? So then I just started going, well, it's not that big. It's not big for me. And it's just normal for me. Like, it's just another step that I've taken. So it didn't all happen like that. So it's not like, whoa, this is all just suddenly this huge thing. It's like, well, I just took a few steps and now I'm here, and I'll just continue to take steps. So I'm going to pull away all of that self-talk of this is huge and just say, well, what am I doing today? What feels good today? What does the business need from me today? And then all of a sudden it's like, actually, I don't really have that many things on my to-do list. Like, I was feeling so overwhelmed, and actually really that's not the truth. So have a look at your mindset and your self-talk and see what's going on in there, and if that's maybe creating a reality that isn't real.
So powerful. Mindset is the key to success. I'm going to call that the key to success in business. It's not a hidden gem. It is the key. It doesn't matter what stage, what level, how far you are in, whether it's, 6 months, whether it's 6 years. Mindset will always be the one thing that either propels you forward or holds you back. Well,
yes, 100%. And sometimes you can have great mindset, and other times you can have crap, but you got to focus on it all the time.
It's an ongoing journey.
It's not something you just get and then it stays. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I've loved this conversation with you so much, China. I just wanted to ask, where can the listeners find you and connect with you?
Yes, I would love to connect with some new people. Come over to Instagram is the best spot, the Beauty Software Instagram page, which is literally just Beauty Software.
With an I?
Very easy to find. Beauty is spelled with an I. Yes, so BEAUTI, software. Come and say hi. I'm on there personally, so if you message, you will hear from me, and I'd love to chat and answer any questions and celebrate you and have you a part of the Heart of Beauty movement that we're about to launch.
And also book in a tour if you need an upgrade for your booking system. Highly, highly recommend.
Yes, of course. We do free tours. So if anybody is looking for a new software, you can message us or you can go straight through the website and have a free trial, which is 14 days, to have a play and see what you think of the software. And then you can have a free tour, which is like a 45-minute walkthrough to answer all of your questions and exactly what Sammy had to kind of show you around and show you how awesome it is.
Amazing. Thank you so much, China. And thank you everyone for tuning in and listening to today's episode. I'll see you next Monday on the Beauty Industry Leaders podcast, and I hope you have an amazing week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Orion.
Shutdowns exclusive.